I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Okay, Jovante is back. All right, Jovante, go ahead, boo.
All right, I'm sorry, you guys. Like I said, I'm not that well versed in StreamYard, but to the young lady who is speaking, as I said before, we can agree to disagree. But it's very disrespectful and disheartening for you to come on a platform and speak to situations, one, that you don't know anything about, two, that you probably weren't even alive when they started, and three, you're not telling the whole truth. You want to speak about Azriel Clary and Faith Rogers. Let's take those two individuals out. It was proven in court. You weren't there. I know for a fact you weren't. It was proven in court that she does have herpes and that it was contracted from Robert. Everything that was testified in court, and there were several women that testified, is called pseudonyms. People did not testify under their government names for their own protection. So it's okay for you to feel how you feel. You're human. You have a right to formulate your own opinions. But what you don't have the right to do is speak to things as if you have fact. You were not there. You weren't in court. You weren't there when anything happened to any of us. So you are wrong for sitting in the position that you're sitting in. Nobody set that man up in our era. I can't speak to what happened in 2017 or 2018 because I don't know those individuals. Never had a conversation with the Savages. So never met the Savages. So to say that Tim Savage is the person and the reason
Jovante,
why.
Hold on. Jovante, you just said us.
Yes, us, because she spoke about all of the people that were part of the docuseries. I was in all four.
Wait a minute. Jovante, you are from
Surviving R. Kelly.
Oh my God.
So I love my Black content creators. And unfortunately for me, because I was attached to a national disaster, it's difficult for me to just pop in people's chats and have an opinion about anything. It doesn't even have to be R. Kelly. When I started following your channel, it had nothing to do with R. Kelly. I came in contact with you through Sean Davy Wade, who I love and adore. I've been following Sean for 4 years because of his Surviving series. Had nothing to do with R. Kelly. There's several Black content creators that I follow and that I have supported throughout the years that don't even know that I'm in their bushes. But it pisses me off when people go and speak to things that they have nothing to do with the heartache, nothing to do with any of the incidents that occurred. You speak about people's parents, you know nothing. We were runaways. We were 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old children. You telling me we set him up? Our parents never took no money from nobody. We never asked nobody for no money. I never sued this man for a dime. My hands are completely clean. The bottom line is what happened to us and what was happening to those women needed to stop. Period. So nobody wants to feel like their biggest favorite celebrity, any one of their heroes, is ill-fated, but they're all human. Nobody comes without flaws. And please understand, the government is 99.5. They don't need anybody, but they have to, according to the Constitution, try you in front of a jury of your peers. But they already have what they need to convict you. So now, as you speak about Azriel and you speak about Faith, they had nothing to do with the Mann Act or the racketeering, because a racketeering charge has to go past a certain amount of years. They weren't even around. They weren't even born yet. So, young lady, please do your homework. Do your research. I don't know who you are. Don't know who you're affiliated with. They say you affiliated with Sylvia. We know she is a diehard super fan for R. Kelly. So do your own homework. Formulate your opinions upon fact and not rhyme or reason. It's based upon fact. We know for a fact that he was sleeping with Rashona at 13 years of age. Please don't tell me that that tape is foggy or not clear, because guess what the feds do? They dissect everything. It's called forensic evidence. So all of the things that you're sitting here speaking to, you have no validation or any credence to even speak to it. You weren't in the courtroom in New York. You're not a forensic specialist. You're not a forensic analyst, and you did not analyze, or were you privy to any of the evidence? Because the evidence, for the most part, was redacted from the public. It was only allowed for the jurors. How do I know? Because I was there. So I'm going to drop my mic right there. You have a blessed fucking day.
Hold on, Jovante. You're not
Have a blessed fucking day. You know what I'm saying?
Can I speak?
Conscious. You already know. Hold on. I was talking to Conscious. I was talking to Conscious. I don't want to be rude. Conscious. You know how Scorpios are. She's been talking for hours, Conscious. We've been listening to her for hours. We've been listening to her rant, rave, and talk in circles for hours. And the only thing that she can seem to speak to is things that are having a negative hue. She doesn't speak to anything that's been documented, that's been backed up by document, fact, or court record. So I don't do that. You know how Scorpios are. You know, we directly to the point, and we don't have no time for the games and the garbage. We will cut your ass with a razor and then pray over your ass and throw some oil on you and go on home.
That part. And wish you well.
Baby, I sat as long as I could. I'm over here boiling. I'm over here boiling.
I would have been had you up here had I known.
I'm over here boiling. How dare you? How dare you?
Wow.
How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? These allegations and court documents started in 1994. What year were you born in, young lady? That part. I'll wait for it.
Do you want to listen for her response, Jovante?
Absolutely. And I don't mean to bite her head off, but I listened to her berate us for hours.
You didn't bite my head off at all.
Okay, well, I'm glad, Queen, because I wouldn't treat you that way.
I stand 10 toes down about everything that I said, okay? Jovante Cunningham was definitely a part of Surviving R. Kelly. Now, if you go and watch Surviving R. Kelly, on that docu-series that she got paid to be on, she never said that she was a victim, that she had sex with R. Kelly. It wasn't until trial 2 years later, fast forward, okay, when she decided to want to be a part of the case and said that, oh, he had sex with her also when she was a minor, but she was not a part of the actual victims. She just was a witness. That's what she came in on. See, they tried to do some play to right before trial, where now all of a sudden she's saying that she was a victim, that allegedly he had sex with her or he messed with her. But on Surviving R. Kelly, she's the one that said that she seen him do something to Aaliyah on the bus.
Now, drop your mic right there so I can revamp your facts. No, because you're telling me about. Hold on, you're telling me. You're telling me about my life. You're wrong. You're telling me about my life and you're wrong. Young lady, I was a part of the first case in 1994. The things that happened to me were spoken about years ago. I didn't go looking for lifetime. I didn't go looking for the feds. Get your facts straight, baby. They came looking for me. Okay. And what you don't know about when you're doing anything on television, you don't have control over what ends up on the editing floor. You only have control over what your contribution is. So you don't know what I divulged to those people. And if you look at any interview that I've ever had, I have always stated that there were things that have occurred that I did not want to talk about. But if you have worked with him, he has definitely tried you. And if you go back and look at the books that were written almost 20 years ago, my name is in every last one of them. So why you talking about things are just now coming out? No, you're just finding out about them. Stop speaking fact. Stop speaking in matter of fact, because you don't know us. You don't know much about us.
You was not even at the entire New York trial. What are you talking about?
You don't know where I was.
What are you talking about?
You don't know where I was.
You was not in the court.
You don't know where I was.
Entire New York trial.
You don't know where I was.
Let's be clear. It was stated multiple times that Jovante, that her case literally corroborated what's occurring. And they made it clear that they needed her information because the statute of limitations had run out on what happened to her. But her corroborating
Jovante
her everybody else's story is how this came together. You're purely from emotions, like it's charged. How you feel is not a fact. How you feel is not a fact.
She is not even a charged act. That means the prosecutors did not believe her enough to put her as a charged act. What are you talking about?
That's
not what that means. The statute of limitations. First of all,
why wouldn't it include Jovante if Jovante claimed that she was a victim? She was not a charged act.
First and foremost, young lady, before you speak on the law, please educate yourself on the law. I'm gonna leave you with that, because we're 30 years to okay. You want, ma'am? You asking me a question?
Jovante was not a charged
Excuse
act.
me. Excuse me, ma'am.
Charge act mean? Define it. You don't know. You're just using words.
Ma'am, don't even waste your breath. I have learned that in this situation.
What does charge act mean?
In this situation,
was not charged for Jovante. That's what that means. She was not a charge act. Asriel Clary was a charge act. Faith Rogers was a charge act. Geronda Pace was a charge act. Jovante Cunningham was not.
Excuse me, anybody that was a part of the early years was not a part of the charges because of the statute of limitation. However, everything, hold on, stop talking. You want to stop talking? He was not charged for her. He was not charged for her.
Aaliyah. He was charged for
robbery. Ma'am. We've listened to you talk in circles for 3 hours. Now,
I haven't spoken in circles.
Now, I can't, ma'am. I came up here to give you some facts to help.
What I'm saying.
To help try to educate you so that when you present your facts, because I can't change your opinion. Your opinion is yours. That's your God-given right. But what I want to do is arm you with the proper things, so that you're not saying things where people are going to tell you that you sound crazy as a fool. Because people that understand the law, that's why they say that understands the law. That's who it's for. Educate yourself on the law. Read the transcripts. Get familiarized with the case. Go back and read those books from 20 years ago and newspaper articles from 25 years ago, and research how many cases were swept underneath the rug, how many payouts he had, how long he's been accused of having sexual allegations with minors. Where there's smoke, baby, there's fire. You don't have to believe what happened to me. You don't have to believe any of us.
I'm talking about the billboards with Susan Logan soliciting accusers, saying, "Hey, if you know R. Kelly, come to my office so you can get paid." You're talking about Susan Logan's DC Susan Logan's that refused to show up to court, that was paying people,
ma'am,
for false testimony, for false allegations. It was getting cut under the table.
Ma'am, I don't know anything about any false allegations, but what I can tell you about it is the ones that I know of.
Logan, right?
And hold on. You getting excited, baby? Don't get excited because I'm coming with that thing. Don't get excited because I'm hitting you with facts. Don't get excited. Just sit back and take it. Just sit back and take it. Just sit back and take it. When you get through talking, if you got the answers to your questions, then it's no need of me talking.
Did you go to Susan Logan's Jovante?
Hold on. Beauty and Me.
I just want to know if she got.
Hold on. She gonna answer those questions, I'm sure. But allow someone who has a lived experience of this to help to inform us about the dynamics of how a lot of this stuff played out. Okay. This is somebody who I'm
gonna respect you and I respect your platform, but like I said, a lot of those people was liars. And
man, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question?
No, I'm talking to Conscious. Conscious, I respect you and I respect your platform, so I'm going to go on mute.
Conscious, what I don't do is disregard or disrespect, because I haven't disrespected her or came at her in a bogus way at all. So for you to say you respect Conscious and you respect his platform is inadvertently say you're going to disrespect me. So let's not go there, Queen. We don't have to agree.
I was going to disrespect you. I said I'm going to respect Conscious and his platform, and I'm going to go on mute.
Okay, well, that still says inadvertently. You have no regard for the person that's speaking. Okay, just go. Okay, baby. Go ahead and mute yourself, darling.
Jovante, and thank you so much for the mute, Queen. Okay, Jovante.
Yes, thank you for the mute, Queen. Just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean that I have to disrespect you. You know what I'm saying? We can agree on some other subjects. We don't have to agree on this one. However, you speaking about Susan Logan, that was his attorney. So did you ever think maybe the females that she was dealing with were the females that he was ushering to her because he had once said occurrences? Now, I can't speak about people I have no affiliation with or people that I don't know. And I'm talking about from the early 90s. I can't speak to that. I can only speak to that group of girls that I was with. That's it. And that's all. So some of the things you're asking me, I wouldn't be able to answer you. And I would tell you that I don't know because I wasn't there. Now, let's go back to Kim Fox. You said Kim Fox dropped the charges because nobody called in. That's not what happened. It's called the state had already spent money. The city and the state had already spent money on the federal trial. They had already gotten their guilty conviction. It would have been a waste of state dollars in an electoral year to take him back down that trial when it's already been done in 2 states. He'll never get out of jail. He can never get as many more years than he's already got, because according to the law, you can only do 1 life sentence. So no matter how many years they would have stacked on his head, he still would only have to do the 1 life sentence. So that would have been a waste of taxpayer dollars. Okay. So let's get that out the way. Now let's go back to what you were saying about evidences and we're liars. Please understand that any and everything that was testified to was corroborated by video evidence. You want to explain everything away but his misappropriated penis. Please understand that a popist ass excuse for a man misappropriating his penis with a minor does not fall on anybody's judgment but his own. Period. Nobody put a gun to his head. Whether those people set him up or not, I don't know. I heard things just like you did. As far as me being in New York, young lady, you don't know where I was. You only know when you saw my face. That's all you know. So please don't tell me where I was or what I've done, because you don't know. But as it relates to all of these things, you can only explain or speak to those things that you don't agree with, but you can't explain away the video evidence and the facts. Please understand that R. Kelly convicted himself. He did this to himself. My stories have never changed. First of all, what I said in court is what I said on Lifetime. They edited it. I don't have any control over that, nor do I have a problem with stating that. So you're talking about paid actors. People don't have to be paid to tell you what is already known. I tried to avoid this for years because I didn't want any of the embarrassment on my family or my name. But at the point that the feds are telling you and showing you what you cannot explain away, it will behoove you to speak for yourself than allow someone else to speak for you. Then you have no voice at all. So I'm so sorry that you don't understand that we were violated and that this man is sick. He has a problem. I spoke on the last docuseries about how I felt some people had extorted him for money back in the day. Doesn't take away from his actions, baby. I don't agree with all the people that have been a part of some of the things that have gone on. But what I'm not going to do is openly speak against a survivor, because regardless of what somebody's parent did or anything else, they're still a victim. And as far as our parents were concerned, we were runaways. There's plenty missing persons reports from when we were kids. Well, juvenile records are sealed. But however, our parents were no advocate of what was going on, nor did they have a clue at some point. And once they got wind of it, they were proactive. Did they know everything? No, they did not. Did they support it? Absolutely not. So stop putting everybody into a pail and a bucket and making them all one. We're all individuals. We all have individual occurrences and accounts. And you don't have a right to matter of fact it because you weren't there. So you don't have a clue. He wouldn't be sitting in jail if he wasn't guilty. He just wouldn't. Doesn't work like that. And unfortunately, Chicago let him get away for many years because he was paying Chicago. You want to talk about all this other stuff. You don't want to talk about none of his corrupt behavior and the things that he's done and how he tried to pay his brother to say that was him on that videotape when it was clear as plain day that was him. So, I respect you and I appreciate you sharing, but just educate yourself really well before you go spewing something. But, if you're a part of Sylvia's step, that's what y'all do. So I get it.
I got some questions for you, Jovante. My God. First of all, thank you for being here. So you were definitely one of the notable women from the documentary who had some extraordinary observations to bring to the documentary. I wanted to ask you, was there any backlash when it came to your statements around R. Kelly and Aaliyah? Have you had any communication to Aaliyah's family, or has there been any interaction between y'all about what happened on Surviving R. Kelly?
There has been no interactions other than when her mother came out and made that statement. And once she saw the documentary, if you notice, she never said another word.
Yeah.
On her first album, you can't explain us away. His own witness got up on the stand and corroborated everything that was stated about the 90s. So this young lady is speaking in parables. She apparently read the transcripts in parables or only gets her information from Sylvia. Either way, it's not correct. Now, her opinion is hers. I can't take that from her. She has a right to that. And I wouldn't try to. But just speak the facts. That's all I'm saying. And I say the same thing about Robert. I'm not no advocate of nobody lying on him. I'm not no advocate of anybody creating more drama for him
the facts.
already created for himself. And I wish people would really understand that. You don't see me running from news platform to news platform. You don't see me. I don't care anything about any of that. All I cared about was that it needed to stop, because for many years I wasn't going to open my mouth. And see, the things that happened to me in front of other people. So, young lady, you couldn't take away what happened to me if you tried. You just couldn't.
Okay, now I want you to focus a little bit on me, Jovante, and not on beauty me. Okay, so with that being said, another question is, with all of this conversation going on around a retrial, a new trial, and his lawyers doing everything they need to do to punch holes in all of this, are you afraid, or what have you done with the thought that this man, for whatever bizarre reason, may walk free, that he may pull a Cosby, that there may be some freak circumstances that may allow him to get out either sooner than later, or possibly just walk back into the open world? Have you dealt with that as a potential, and what has that process been like to think about him possibly being free again?
I don't fear anyone but God. If God be for me, who in the hell got the balls to stand against me? So I don't fear that. I'm a God-fearing woman, and I believe that God tells us in his word, he will give you a slap on the wrist until he'll just turn his hand over and turn you over to a reprobate mind. Robert had almost 30 years to correct his poor behavior. He chose not to. And the fact that he won't even acknowledge his wrongdoing. And I understand, you still have pending litigations or possible litigations. You don't want to incriminate yourself, but your lawyer has stood in court over and over again and basically said you were guilty in 59 different ways. Now, as far as it being some freak fluke, the difference between Bill Cosby and R. Kelly is Bill Cosby gave a grown woman a Benadryl that she asked for herself after she had been drinking. And because he admitted that, that's considered a date rape drug. However, that court case had already been in litigations 40 years prior and should have never been brought back before a judge. Why his attorneys didn't catch it, I don't know, but it should have never been back in litigation. So that was a part of the reason why he's not incarcerated now, because that should have never gone into litigation. The difference with R. Kelly is he literally taped himself having sex with minors. You can't explain that away. You can't make that go away. You took minors across state line and had intercourse with them. And not only did you have intercourse, you videotaped these things. That's where the Mann Act comes in at. So it's unfortunate they don't really understand and get it that he convicted himself. The only reason why you hear of other people and other names, even though they're pseudonames, is because according to the Constitution, you have to be tried in front of a jury of your peers. Other than that, they would have locked him up and threw away the key upon finding that storage locker with all those videotapes that went back 30 years. Videotapes, floppy disks, computers, laptops, cell phones, purses, anything he confiscated from a young lady. So please understand, the evidence that they have against him is the evidence that he gave them himself.
Yeah. Another question. What has your support system looked like? And on this platform, we have a lot of conversations around the Black community and how we deal with sexual assault and this practice of sweeping things under the rug and upsetting the status quo, and oftentimes holding back from the perpetrator because it will affect other people we loved in the situation. What have you been supported?
Yes and no. I get well wishes and all types of wonderful messages daily from all over the world. Mm-hmm. But in your own sector, and I don't mean family, I'm just saying in general, in your own sector of your city or other states, it can come in different ways. Either you're going to have people that support you and you're going to have people that don't support you. Did I get myself some help? Absolutely. However, it's hard. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to be like, they don't get it. Who the hell wants to be known as a person that was basically what they're calling it is human trafficking. Who wants to be a part of that? I have a daughter of my own. She hears this stuff all over YouTube, all over the internet. I can't keep it from her if I wanted to. Who wants that in their home front? Who wants that to be something that their child has to fight on the playground about? Or walk into a school and see an R. Kelly poster and feel some kind of way. So what's entertainment for some people? This is our lives. It's the same thing I say about Robert. I would never add to the hurt, but I'm not going to hide his truth no more. I did that for a very long time. I did not press it the way I should have when we came to the authorities as kids, because nobody believed us. So it was like, you know what? What else can we do? So we left it alone. But I look up and 25 years later, you're still doing the same thing. I look up and you've done this to other people that I know, and it shouldn't matter if it's somebody you know. It shouldn't happen to anybody. And it's not little girls, it's little boys. And yes, there are grown people that have been involved with him as well. And for that, children are not, you can't say children consent, because children don't have the right to legally. You see what I'm saying? But there's some of those adult women that were abused too. And just because they were adults doesn't mean that he had the right to treat them that way. So I think people just get convoluted in the way that they process things and get so caught up in the hype that they can't step back and actually put some humanity to it. Because what are you going to do when all of this is over? What are you going to do if he comes out and says, you know what? I did do these things. Trapped in the closet, all his music, all of everything tells you he tells you exactly what he does. He did it right in y'all face. Y'all just chose not to see it.
Okay. He's been the Pied Piper forever.
And you can't, and who was the Pied Piper? A man who played the flute, who got the kids to go away from their parents, to turn against their parents and leave the village. Like, you really have to pay attention to the psyche. And I could share some other things about him, like how he's obsessed with serial killers and all types of stuff. However, that doesn't have anything to do with his sexual preference. That just means he likes those types of movies. But all of it speaks to the psyche. And if you all look at how this occurred, we'll be looking at another R. Kelly. It's going to occur again. It'll just be a different face, a different set of kids. So,
has this skewed with you having a daughter and there being expansions of the industry like social media, etc.? Like, has this skewed your attitude toward the industry? Would you encourage a young person to still go into the industry? What is your feelings about the industry after going through what you've gone through and witnessing a lot of other young talent also go through what they've been through in the context of the industry?
What the industry does and has done for the last 70, 80 years is not a secret. Now, they don't get penalized for it, but it's not a secret. From the Berry Gordys to the Clive Davises to so on and so forth. Things that we've heard, we can't validate because we weren't there. These are all alleged things. So I'm not saying these things about these people. I'm just saying what I've heard. I would encourage a young person to try to find an independent way to break into the industry, because if you go in under somebody else, depending on who you're working with, there are some good people in the industry. Everybody's not bad. And that's in life, period. But you have to know what the probabilities are and what the chances are. And you have to make healthy decisions. But you also have to be exposed to that knowledge as well. So I would just encourage them to not only investigate for themselves whomever they want to work with, but try to reach out to other people that they've worked with and find out what their backstory is and pray, and then try to make a definitive decision. But evil is everywhere, Conscious. You know that. I read your community wall, what you posted. It was a plethora of information. But we are all warriors in this world. Choose your weapon wisely. So with that being said, there's no way for you to avoid the negativity of this world. You just have, for every negative, that's 5 positives. You got to find your positives, and you got to hold on tight. You got to grab life by the horns and ride it till the motherfucking wheels fall off. But you can't avoid evil. It's a part of everything. You can just try to shield yourself. You know, put on the whole armor of God, reach down in your breastplate and pull out what you need to when you can, but you can't avoid it.
Yeah. I think a lot of things have to change in the community. I think I'm very proud of the explosion of the Me Too movement and it creating a space and a voice for people that are being exploited and victimized by power. And I think that we have to continue to normalize conversations around abuse. I think that things like what have happened to you and a lot of the other young women in this case, they have to motivate us as a people to have conversations around explaining what coercion and grooming looks like, because I think a lot of people don't even know that anything is happening to them. They're not even able to recognize these things in the room. They don't even know that what they're interacting with and the way they're being stimulated is inappropriate, etc. And I know as a young man growing up, these were not conversations that were a part of my dinner table. These were not conversations that my cousins or friends were afforded. We wouldn't have known whether we was being preyed upon or not. I mean, I was a 17-year-old boy who had a 32-year-old boyfriend.
Hello.
And I treated him like just any other male. I mean, he was just a boyfriend to me. There was nothing inappropriate as far as I was concerned in my head. And
because you were doing what you thought was okay. But as a child, depending on what state you're in, because some states, their sexual activity ages vary. So I'm not certain where you're from.
I'm in South Carolina, so the age of consent is 16. Technically, I was of legal age, but you know.
So it's not a legality, it's a morality. And people have to understand that as well. And in this situation, let me make this as plain as I possibly can. And this is a gem for any and everybody that chooses to take it home. R. Kelly is the person that changed the social pattern, because our grandmothers were married to men that were our seniors. Hell, Mary was with Joseph. He was older than her. We were somehow systematically taught that stability was in somebody who was not of your age group. But when Robert married Aaliyah, that changed the social narrative, because that was crazy. The age difference was just like, really? For real? Hold on. And yeah, you had the Jerry Lee Lewises before, and the Elvises.
Elvis.
They're a different color than we are. We're going to leave that right there. Never had that been done that we knew of outside of Thelma on Good Times at 17 trying to marry a 52-year-old. So when he got that slap on the wrist, and just like education evolves and medicine evolves, so does social class. And when that social class changed, he should have changed with it, because he got away with what he had done in his early years. But see, you get by, but you don't get away. My God is not a God that he should lie. His word come back void. That word is applicable to all of us. And just because you are somebody who can turn on the TV and see at work don't make you no different than the man that's going to work next door. And we talk about the women that you see, but let's talk about the hundreds and thousands of women that have been afflicted. The boy body count is high. I talked about several women. They narrowed it down to Aaliyah. I made one comment about her and they trashed everything else. So I'm not one of those types of people. Even when people come at me in a negative light, you've never heard me come out and dispute any of the lies that people have said. I just leave them what they thought. It's yours. Have at it. I'm like Cat Williams. His self-esteem. That ain't my thought. It don't belong to me. Have at it. I'm not going to allow you to live rent-free in my head. I got enough swarming in my own that's going on in my life. So he created, not only did he validate why social class should change, he recorded it. And now he's paying the consequences of it. Bottom line. I don't know else to drop it.
So you know what else, Jovante? So in talking about how as a community we have to have better conversations with young people and educate ourselves as adults as well and transfer that information to young people. But even in talking about R. Kelly, who didn't change with the times, because the issue he was dealing with was an aspect of his nature. So I'm going to assume then that we also have to find some way in this culture for people like R. Kelly to have a voice, to be able to speak about these proclivities as well, so that they can be afforded to get the help they need before they evolve fully into a R. Kelly. Because I've tried to have conversations on my platform around us also as a culture, creating spaces where people who are having the feelings of certain attractions, etc., especially ones that are deemed illegal and completely inappropriate and abominable, but from the public's perspective, there's such a defensiveness just right out the gate, even if a pedophile has not even committed the act, even if they're only willing to testify to the feelings, but has not acted upon it, that there's already this egregious pushback. And I sit back and think, well, damn, if this is what our reaction is going to be to people who are willing to be honest and say, this is the way they feel, then this reaction gives them a reason to not even seek community that can lead to seeking proper resources and help, etc. So it seems that we have work to do in every aspect of this situation. But what do you think about people like R. Kelly, who knew he could not say what he was feeling without major persecution from his community, from the culture around him, that there might have been nobody he felt safe enough to say, hey, I'm thinking these type of things and feeling this type of way. Like, who could he say that to?
I think you just made a very, 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 very valid point. There is not a, that I'm aware of, I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but not that I'm aware of, especially not mainstream, a support system or a support group or services for people who have those desires. However, there's counseling everywhere. Now, we as a society have to make a space available, but then when that space is made available for them, those people also have to know that people are going to scrutinize them as well, because they have children. And now they're watching their children around them. They may not have ever acted out on those feelings, may not ever, maybe just a figment of their imagination. But if you don't deal with those things, then those are things that can manifest at any point in your life. So mental illness, see, what he's dealing with is an illness. And keep in mind that he was tampered with himself as a child.
Yeah.
Doesn't give him an excuse to be a molester, because we all have been through some things. Not everybody, but most people. If you took a poll out of 9 out of 10 people, they've had an occurrence, and in their childhood, even if it was just somebody fondled them. But we as African Americans were taught systematically, inadvertently, through family, through neighbors, don't tell nobody. Oh, you're going to make Uncle so-and-so look bad, or Auntie so-and-so, or the boy across the street, or whatever. People were so afraid because of how Black people were treated during civil rights as it relates to crimes, that it became a don't tell. And that's a problem as well. And victims are re-victimized over and over and over again, which is part of the reason why they don't come forward. Because you have people like the young lady that say that they're lying or it's their fault. They do not give the personal accountability to the people that it goes to.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to be accountable for my actions, what makes him exempt? He's the same human I am. We're governed by the same law. So I think it's a matter of how we think. And I think it's also what we think of people that affects the way that we receive them. If we can reprogram how we think about victims, we can reprogram how we think about predators, then maybe we can have a receptive community for them. But even with the groups that are out here supposed to be, and that are supporting victims, you have so many that fall by the wayside, that don't have the money for those resources, don't know those resources are available, or are being scrutinized because they came forward. So it's a very delicate issue. The pit swings one way and the pendulum goes the other.
Yeah, because it's going to be a lot. Because I think about how nuanced this gets if a person who has this type of orientation, that's the only way I can like contextualize it for myself, is they have to have that. This must feel like to them what all of our orientations feels like to us. How you're naturally oriented to find another man attractive. I'm oriented to find another man attractive as a same gender loving man, etc. Heterosexuality. That I can only imagine that that's how it must work. And then I think about, well, okay, then a person goes and confines in a therapist, a counselor. Now, from what I understand, I know that therapists, when they have clients who confess to having some type of a pedophilic nature or orientation or feelings, I think that they have to alert the law, not that they get locked up, but that there is a certain protocol that they have to operate from once a client makes that type of confession that they are dealing with said. And I don't know what happens from there, but I would imagine that even that scares a pedophile from even confessing, because there's this kind of immediate stigmatization. And then I would imagine that if there's protocols that therapists then have to operate from when they get a client who's a pedophile, that means that now, because of the way this person says they feel, I'm wondering if that then makes it impossible once that goes into whatever database it does, if that means they can't be teachers, that they can't go be daycare providers, or that, like, I don't know exactly what all of the fallout is, but if we don't think about creating the proper infrastructure for the R. Kellys of the world to get access to very necessary things before they become atomic bombs, the way that someone like him did become, then we're going to continue to have a really big problem on our hands, because these people are going to feel that they don't have anywhere to go or anybody else, or no space to seek perspective and healing and treatment or whatever it is in. And then they're going to, and that means that then they're going to appoint themselves as kind of like the only system in place between them and their behavior and their feelings. And most human beings fall prey to their desires, unfortunately. And so, yeah, I agree. I think that is a big conversation we have to have around education on both sides. We have to educate ourselves and young people about things that can happen to them under various circumstances. Because look at the situation with Dalai Lama. Look at the situation with the Catholic Church. You know, it doesn't just happen in hip hop or happen in Hollywood. It happens in religious institutions. It happens right in living rooms and everyday households.
Life. It happens
in life,
go.
Period. And then we also have to think about how what people who might be feeling like this and dealing with this need, and what that needs to look like, so that they can also get the help they need, so that they are not a threat to the community or to our children and to our young people. And so it's going to take a lot of reforming. But I'm happy that you and all of the women made it out alive. You made it out to have a testimony. You made it out to cross the other side. You made it out to see the grass is greener. You made it out to reclaim your time and your mind. There's so many fucking questions that I actually have for you. Me and you need to link up. You need to email me.
If you go and just send me your information where you want to be contacted at through him on Instagram, I will definitely connect with you.
I'm about to find your Instagram right motherfucking now.
I would like to say to the young lady who I know is in support of Robert, his sexual acts were not right during my time, but he wasn't the monster he is now. You know, he wasn't fighting us and things of that nature. Actually, we'd have kicked his ass because we didn't play. We was kind of rough as far as, you know, coming along and being runaways and having to fend for ourselves. But we were also very naive and very gullible and very talented. And you're being told this is what you got to do. This is what goes on. And you've heard of these things if you're a person that follows the industry, even as a small child, from the Whitney Houstons and the Diana Rosses and so on and so forth. So you couldn't have paid me to believe that Robert didn't even drink when we were around. He didn't even smoke bud. Like, he was extremely sexually convoluted, but very, very just fun and childlike, as you know, when the other stuff wasn't going on, and very joking and very charismatic. So I used to have sympathy for him. I will always be empathetic. He's human. I don't have a right to take away empathy, and I don't have a right to not forgive, because I want God to forgive me every time I drop the ball. But at the end of the day, Robert also made his own decisions. And I've spoke about this publicly before, and I will state it again. There were people that fed his addiction. They knew what he liked, and he was cocky about it. So in order for them, and I'm talking about managers, lawyers, financial advisors, in order for them to continue to launder money without him really realizing it, because he wasn't very savvy as it related to education, they fed his addiction. But the problem is he made the conscious decision to do it. He was okay with it. He'd tell you, go bring me some girls. So I know
Rocky Bivens had just attested to that. Rocky Bivens had said that in a documentary.
Rocky doesn't have the reputation. Rocky is from Chicago.
Yeah.
Rocky was there, baby. Rocky did work. He worked for Robert. He was there. He's not making that up. He was working for Robert when he met his wife. Okay? I lived it. It's not something I heard. I don't speak about things that I don't know of. I'll tell you, I wasn't there. I don't know. Because I don't have a right to matter of fact anybody's anything. So I don't do that. But, it's deep. When you say reform, it goes all the way down to our lawmakers. We have people that are in position that perpetuate the same behaviors.
Absolutely.
You don't see anything wrong with it. They got a whole pizza thing going on. It's bad. So unfortunately, it starts in our homes. We really have to educate our children from as early as they can speak. If they can understand the English, Lord Jesus, English language.
It's late.
You have to explain to them in terms that they can understand. Good touch, bad touch.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's your mama or your daddy. You'd be surprised how many children are victimized by parents, by siblings. It happens every day, all day. So unfortunately for Robert, he's just somebody we can turn on the TV. And then you stand on YouTube and say, it's too late now. You should have called me 25, 30 years ago. He told on himself, baby. I know you don't want to believe it, but he's giving you his own truth. You just got to open your ears and your eyes. Your eyes are wide shut.
Yep. That part. Okay, so last but not least, Jovante, and I did find you on Instagram. I sent you a message. Briefly, what do you think about this shit between the Savages and the Clarys? Like, do you have any thoughts about what they're going through with each other?
You know what? To be honest with you, I don't know what they're going through with each other. I know what they're going through separately. And again, as I stated on the onset of this conversation, I will never speak out against the victim. So Azriel is the victim. Her parents are not my concern. They're adults. They are responsible for their own behavior, good, bad, or indifferent. Every tub sits on its own bottom at the end of the day. I am not the judge or the adjudicator. So I don't speak on things that I can attest to. I was not there for their experience. I wasn't there for her experience. I can't validate or invalidate any of it. I wasn't there for the Savages' experience. I can't invalidate or validate any of it. But you will never get me to say anything negative about those people. Yeah. I have a right to do so. And as a victim, if I want people to receive victims with open arms, then why would I reject one? So that's what I have to say about it.
Okay, last. So there was a conversation tonight from the Savages about people were encouraging them to give Jocelyn some space. Some people felt like they're going really hard to get their daughter back. They haven't spoke to her since 2016. They, keep crying out for her. Do you agree with that feedback that the Savages should pull back and allow Jocelyn in her own time to seek them, or would you encourage them to continue to cry out for their daughter?
I don't have a right as a parent to tell another parent how they should or should not feel about their adult child. Because at the end of the day, no matter how old mine gets, it's mine. So what I would encourage the lawmakers to do, because as an adult woman, she does not have to contact them. Though it's disheartening, my heart goes out to them, and I pray for that girl daily. I drop gold hearts everywhere for her. If you see a gold heart with my name behind it, that means joy come home. But I feel like our lawmakers should have made her not contact her parents, but at least have a physical with them every month to ensure that she's okay because of the allegations.
Mm-hmm.
She's okay. I can't make her talk to her parents. That's a personal decision that's between her, her parents, and God. And I do not have a right to put my mouth on it. I support their quest to find their daughter unharmed. But I feel like the law has fallen short as it relates to ensuring whether they can speak to her or not, that her safety is not in question. That's
And do you know?
what I have with.
And do you know? And do you know why the law is failing? Because those who make the law are the R. Kellys.
But not that too. And then you have people that stand from the position and say, well, she's 28, 29 years old. She's an adult. Yes, she is. However, the person that she was with is in the middle of a national sex trafficking ring. So with that being said, even though when you say ring, people think, oh, was he trafficking girls here, there, that? That's not what I'm saying. But the people that we are aware of that have been brought to the forefront, we know were taken from state to state. So unfortunately, according to the law, that's what that's called. So because of that, and because of the things that they saw, the abuse, the feces, the bruises, there's some god awful ugly things, and those victims go way younger than what you think. V's niece, way younger, 6 years old. So I feel like there needs to be an exception to every rule, because here's the thing now. He's incarcerated. He ain't doing nothing to her. He's doing nothing to her at this point. He's incarcerated. So what about the people that are so-called handling her? And if she's not being handled, what's the problem with her going forthright to the authorities to say, hey, I'm okay. I'm where I want to be. I'm fine. That takes all of that away. And that also needs to be done privately, not with somebody standing over her shoulder, not with somebody holding her hand, not with somebody sitting on the side of her. She needs to be able to have a moment of clarity and sanctity for herself. I don't know that that's happening because I don't know the situation. I don't know the circumstances. So there's several reasons why it could be taking place. But is it right? No. I think there needs to be an uprising towards the law with this. But I'm not in a position to do that. The savages would have to do that. They need to make a public outcry for the law to get involved just to make sure she's okay. She don't have to talk to them. She don't even got to see them. But let the authorities make sure she's okay.
Yeah, that's a perfect middle. Yeah, that's a great, great. That would be great legislation to put in place. Yeah, it offers some solace in situations because, like you said, there need to be some exceptions for the rule, and this is definitely one of those exceptions. Wow, great talking points, Jovante. I am so glad to have you here. You were a joy and a blessing. I reached out to you on Instagram, so we will correspond. I would love to have you back for some chit chat, etc. You're obviously a world of wisdom and an incredible survivor. And I had no idea you were following the fucking platform. So that is amazing.
Look on there and see how long I've been following you. It was about 2 months ago. Actually, I had been watching in your bushes, but I actually subscribed. You won a platform on Sean Davieway. Love him to death. Absolutely.
Yes. Shout out to Sean.
And I was, oh my God, I'm going to follow. You know, fortunately, let me tell y'all something. This is just real quick fun. This ain't got nothing to do with R. Kelly. I pay my $9.99 every month to YouTube for premium service ad free. Don't tell me who the fuck I can support.
That part.
Don't tell me who I can support, but these people so got off fighting with each other. And it's like,
right.
Ain't nothing to do with what you got going on with them, but I like what you be talking about. But they feel like, shit, I'm afraid to even say anything. Hell, I'm afraid to subscribe. So you have to watch people for a very long time before you find yourself like, okay, I guess it'll be okay if I hit the subscribe button.
It's hardcore out here on these streets, but you are doing the right thing by being a grown woman. You free at last. Can't nobody tell you who to fuck with. You fuck with who the fuck you want to fuck with. You make your own money. Make your own choices.
$99 a month, say premium service ad free.
Amen.
I'm picking you too. Anybody else I want to bless in it? Tell me who I talk to.
Yes.
What the hell I want?
That part. I tell people quick. My name is Bennett. I ain't in it. Don't ask me to be in it. I want to be invested in it. I need to do me. I need to be a free bird. I don't have the emotional capacity to get tied up into the politics of this, that, and the third. Because these same people will be friends in 24 hours.
Listen,
and you would have wasted your
and be talking about dragging your black ass about something.
That part. Yes. But you came and you shut it down. You offered some great perspective. I know Beauty and me probably disagrees 100% because she is as stubborn as gonna be. She is like that rock.
We don't have to agree on R. Kelly, and here's what I need all R. Kelly supporters to understand: just because we don't agree about R. Kelly, don't mean I hate you.
Yeah,
I don't hate you.
That's right, but it doesn't give him a right to diminish your truth.
Excuse me. Nope. I had to light my sage, y'all. So I had to light my marriage winks. Excuse me. They don't have a right to berate or discredit, but they do have a right to their opinion and freedom of speech and free expression. I would never go on none of their platforms and try to shut them down. You know why? That's your shit, your thought. Have at it. My $9.99 premium service and free say I can watch whoever the hell I want.
That part. Yeah, that's very mature. See, that's why I gotta have you back and see how did you become one hell of a damn woman. I need all of the deets on your life experience and just how you became one hell of a woman. You are a very mature-minded woman, Jovante.
God bless you. Life experiences and just realizing that the only thing and the only person you have control over in this realm is you, not even your kid. So when you realize that you are in control of your own energies and your own aura and your own existence and that you choose to entertain, it becomes really easy to refute the bullshit. I watched you do it the other day when you were talking to Denai. I was dying laughing. If I had known you were Scorpio, I would have been prepared. I wasn't ready. wasn't ready. So you're very much so aware and in control of what you're going to allow into your space and what you're going to allow to reside in your heart. And I think if people did that, it's a self thing.
Yeah.
But it's a universal law. Just a universal law that we have been systematically taught to stray away from because we don't have the intelligence that we need, and they keep control of our minds. So it's about freeing yourself and educating yourself and finding out what really makes you tick, your morals, your values, those things that make you cry, those things that make you laugh. So you ask me what? Life.
Yeah.
Life. And I got a whole lot more to give and a whole lot more to grow. You know?
Hey, you gonna talk about it right here on the CTV platform because I'm damn sure bringing your ass back. Okay, because I gotta get nosy, honey. I need to figure out. I'm gonna need some exact experiences. I need to know relationships, the ins and outs. I need to know the lessons you learned through friendship.
R. Kelly, because I get tired of that. To be honest,
yeah, like the hell with R. Kelly. I need to get into Jovante. I need the rest of the story. We know about the R. Kelly part, so. I want to have you back for sure. I did message you, and I'm just happy that you joined. And this was amazing. And I want to thank you for coming up here and setting the record straight as somebody who has had proximity and has had direct involvement to the circumstance that everybody else is observing and perceiving from the outside in. So to get that inside out perspective is certainly it's necessary. So thank you for being here. Take your ass to bed. Message me back on Instagram.
Thank you.
Message you. I appreciate you so much, love.
And I just want to say thank you to you too, Jovante, because you've been consistent for years. Like you have never wavered on what you've been saying. And I feel like your strength and your determination, your consistency in general is the only reason that things got to this point. Like, I'm not sure that the rest of the women that spoke and the young girls that wound up testifying and young men would have been able to do so if you wouldn't have been so firm in your truth. Because there was a lot of people that got bullied out of their space, you know, and when you stayed persistent, they came back and reaffirmed what they had been saying from the beginning.
Truth needs no defense. You need no coaching when it's your life. I know we're getting out of here, but just to speak to a quick thing, Levi for Kelly was on Storm's platform. Mm-hmm. There's no talent coaches. You don't know who's a part of the piece. To be honest with you, they told me they were doing a documentary about the lives of people that had worked with R. Kelly. They didn't ask nothing about that sexual stuff till I got there. And I'm sitting in front of the person that I am being questioned by. There is no precursor interview. Same thing with the feds. There's no coaching. So I just want to tear down all those narratives. And Storm didn't finish reading because he was interviewing the articles that the people that did the original editing which I found out from watching Storm. I didn't even know. We don't even know that. Had done reality shows, also do documentaries and geographic all types of things. So I think people get stuck into, we would rather be entertained than educated. And I'm going to drop my mic right there. And we'll talk later, okay?
Okay, boo. That was Jovante Cunningham, you guys, from Surviving R. Kelly. One hell of a motherfucking woman. I'm going to link all of her information below. Her Instagram. Amazing. Wow. I'm going to have Jovante back. Sonny, any lasting thoughts? That was amazing.
It was. I'm so glad she came through to say that, because she's been pivotal. Like, she has been a major linchpin in this thing for years, you know, and it was necessary for her to put that stamp on what we've been talking about tonight, because, you know, like I was saying earlier, and what she affirmed, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but facts are facts, you know, and what you feel is not a fact unless it is. You get what I'm saying? Like, you can't just force stuff down people's throat and make them move in a certain direction because it's how you feel. And saying, well, it's just my opinion is not a rationale, you know, and we have to get to a place where we can speak to the truth, stand 10 toes in it, good or bad, hard or not, you know, and get to some resolution. Because at the end of the day, everybody's hurting in some way.
Yeah.
And the healing is the only thing that's going to move us forward individually and as a community. And I mean, if you're not paying attention to what's happening around us, healing is what we have to do, because this crumbling is going to occur. It's coming down, whether y'all like it or not.
Yeah.
Like, and you even said it, you know, in the community tab, you spoke to that the other day, like, whether you feel it or not. And if you don't feel it, I suggest you start really tapping in to your spirituality, figure out what that means to you, because you're going to need that discernment real soon. Things are shifting and changing, and it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yep.
You know, and I'm praying for everybody that's in earshot and those that are not here tonight, that revelation happens for you, because I want to see y'all on the other side, but you're gonna have to do the hard work to get there.
Let me tell you something, Sonny. You're going to see my ass, because I have invoked the spirit of Kuta Kinte, and even if I get there on 2 damn kneecaps, if I'm missing the bottom half of my body, just know, baby, the spirit of Kuta Kinte got me there, baby. I'm coming, even if I'm getting there in pieces.
You better know it. You better know it. I could never be Toby. I will never be Toby, baby. Hear it. I'm with you.
Well, thank you for being here, love. Do you have any social media platforms?
Yeah, I'm Sunny Love always on all platforms.
Are you a content creator on YouTube?
Say it again?
Are you a content creator on YouTube?
Yeah, I am.
You have a channel on YouTube?
I have a channel, but all my stuff is private. I'm starting from the top, like I told you last time. I'm starting over. You know, I'm in a different place in life. I want to talk about different things, and you know, I have a lot to share. I have a lot of experience in life I've been through. I don't look like what I've been through, but I have been through it, you know, and I'm ready to help people get through theirs too. Because I feel like too many of us are falling asleep at the wheel. We've given in because it's been too hard. And we made it too far to just say we came this far.
Amen. Yeah, absolutely. Well, tell the people where they can find you so that when you get back out there active, honey, when you get out there active, honey, they already ready.
Well, I am at Sunny Love always on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. So please follow me. I'd love to talk to you, meet you, hear your stories. You know, we need to share. It's time for us to commune, actually start socializing with social media.
That part. Thank you for being here, sister. I love you.
Thank you for having me.
Y'all had an epic sparring that was so amazing to witness between y'all. Like, that was a very amazing sparring session. So continue to hit this link, chat, and come up here and sound off whenever the hell you get a burst of inspiration. I love you. I'm subscribing to the platform tonight so I can be locked and loaded and ready for the download.
Thank you.
And you have a great night, sis.
You too, love. Good to see you. Be blessed.
You too, baby.
And thank you for your time too, Beauty. Listen, I know we didn't agree, but I'm still going to keep you on my mind and my heart. There's always time to really come to the truth. Have a good night, baby.
All right, babe. That was funny, you guys. Beauty and me. Thoughts?
Well, thank you for allowing me on your platform. Thank you to the panelists, Sunny, Jovante included. Although I don't agree with some things, I can still respect both ladies and everyone's opinion. I just want to say that soon all things will be revealed. Okay, R. Kelly is up for 2 appeals, one in Chicago, one in New York. I think it's imperative that people read the documentation and not just take things that people say. Actually read what's documented in black and white. There were some things that Jovante said as far as when she was saying all these different devices that came out to be untrue. You know, with the storage unit, the platform that she usually is normally on, they talked about 100 devices. And that came out to not be true. But I don't want to go backwards on that. The only thing, like I said, is that just wait for everything to come out. I think R. Kelly deserves a fair trial. And I think that anyone else that could possibly have somebody in a situation as an R. Kelly should feel like he deserves a fair trial also. You have your Amber Heards. You have the lady that lied on what's his name, Banks. So we can't sit up here and be in a society where believe all women. And just because you tell me you're a victim or just because you say you're a victim, it doesn't mean that you're a victim. You have this thing called, people that are victims for profit. There were women that came out against Chris Brown. Come to find out, there's text message that was the contrary of what the woman said. Same thing with other celebrities. Right now you have the I think he was a former NFL player that was lied on and he's now suing the network. So we cannot be in a society where we operate to believe anyone that comes out and makes an allegation against somebody. Because it could be any of us at any given time. So that's where I'm at with it. I appreciate your platform. It is free R. Kelly on my side, period. I don't care what anybody say.
It's free R. Kelly.
Yeah, that's on period. That's on period.
That's on period. Well, thank you
salute all the women. Salute you, Conscious. Much love. Enjoy your night.
Much love for you and you as well, boo. I am gonna do R. Kelly due diligence. I'm gonna get into these channels. I'm gonna get into these sectors because every time we have these conversations, a part of me feel like I'm just so on the outside. I'm one of those people who like a lot of my information just came from just like passively, like I did see obviously Surviving R. Kelly, and then I saw things peripherally after that, touched and go, but I haven't gotten acute knowledge of it. But every time we have this discussion, there clearly is such a, especially around the legality and the litigation and court and charges and RICO and testimonies and victims and lawyers, and there's so much going on that it makes me want to just get in there and to just find somewhere to jump in so I can start to catch up on what has played out with R. Kelly and his claims and how the courts are dealing, etc. And as somebody who covers a fair share of litigation and lawsuiting, etc., I know how crazy and interesting the court of law can be when it comes to, you know, dealing with all type of matters. I also know how that look, it's all very interesting. So I'm gonna get in there and start looking at some shit. Okay. I want to thank the panelists. I want to thank Jovante for coming through. You guys make sure that you follow Jovante on all social media platforms. After I conclude this video, I will drop all of her links in the description box below. I want to thank Sunny and Teresa and Ron and everybody. I also want to shout out to my Goddess Speaks, who came up here, gave us an exclusive about the Clarys. She spoke to Angelo earlier. You know, he gave her some perspective on the text messages, and he didn't allegedly he didn't know that his wife was pretty much grooming their daughter Ashriel, and there has been a conversation. They've dealt with that as a family, etc. He has seen the text messages, etc. So it's very interesting. Shout out to Teresa as a donator. Shout out to my boo Brittany and Stacy, as well as Angela. These are from yesterday and some from tonight. So I thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, or later today, I should say. Shout out to Storm Monroe for the exclusive, and shout out to Tim Savage, who, you know, I mean, he stood 10 toes down. He didn't run from the confrontations. He didn't run from the criticism. He was willing to deal with everything head on. My heart goes out, especially to the Savages. That situation with the Clarys, now that's a different situation. But my heart goes out to the Savages. I don't believe that they, I do believe that they are victims of circumstances. Unfortunately, I know that some people disagree with that. That's fine. But as of what I've seen so far, you know, that's where my perspective is. You know, as I get more information and data, then that information will inform my perspective. But right now, based upon what I've seen, my heart goes out to the Savages. And I just pray for all people, all the victims, all the survivors in this case. May God bless y'all, and y'all find strength and happiness and joy and peace, and a great rebirth. This was really epic, and I'll see you guys later. Love you. Bye.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.